Bird versus Magic. In 1979, Magic Johnson led Michigan State to victory over Larry Bird's Indiana State, winning the NCAA championship. This game drew over 35 million viewers, making it the most watched college basketball broadcast in history at the time. From that moment on, these two vastly different players were bound by fate. One was a black point guard, 6 feet 9 inches, with a sunny smile and all-around skills. The other was a white forward, also 6 feet 9 inches, calm, cunning, and with an incredible feel for the game. Their first encounter wasn't in the NBA, but on the college court, and that battle ignited their rivalry onto the national stage. The league desperately needed a boost, and the rivalry between Bird and Magic became the perfect starting point for the NBA's resurgence. Once in the NBA, they joined the Celtics and the Lakers, one on the East Coast and one on the West. Every time they played, it was front-page news. From 1984 to 1987, the Lakers and Celtics met in the NBA Finals 3 times. In 1984, Bird won the FMVP, with the Celtics narrowly winning 4-3, kicking off the rivalry's peak. In 1985 and 1987, Magic led his team to revenge his alley-oop pass in 1987 became an iconic moment. These series weren't just about the championship, they symbolized a concentrated clash of race, region, and playing styles. By the way, Game 7 of the 1984 Finals had a 37% TV rating, far surpassing World Cup broadcasts at the time. Despite their on-court rivalry, their off-court relationship grew warmer over years of intense competition. By 1993, their joint Coca-Cola commercial was hailed as the most authentic reconciliation, eventually fueling the second wave of NBA's global marketing. Bird once said after retiring, "My greatest rival, and the person I respect the most, is Magic." Magic reciprocated, saying, "If it weren't for Larry, I wouldn't have worked so hard." Their rivalry is clearly written in the numbers: a combined 8 championships, 6 MVPs, and 3 direct finals matchups, but emotionally, it transcended winning and losing. Bird and Magic ignited the basketball golden age of the 80s and set the stage for Jordan's arrival in the 90s. Jordan versus Isiah. In the 1988 Eastern Conference semifinals, the Detroit Pistons eliminated the Chicago Bulls 4-2, blocking Jordan's path to the Eastern Conference Finals for the second consecutive year. Led by Isiah Thomas, the Bad Boys used their bruising Jordan rules to frustrate the league's leading scorer, who averaged 35 points. The Pistons shut down Chicago for 2 straight years, not just with physical play, but by expertly exploiting the Bulls' weakness of relying solely on Jordan. Jordan was repeatedly fouled and hit, with his field goal percentage dropping from 53% in the regular season to 46% in the series. At this point, Jordan had to face the reality that even the strongest individual talent couldn't overcome a well-structured, tough-minded team. So, he started intense strength training and pushed management to upgrade the roster. By 1991, the Bulls had transformed, winning 61 regular season games and sweeping through the playoffs. When they met the Pistons again in the Eastern Conference Finals, there was no hesitation. Chicago swept Detroit 4-0, leading by as much as 21 points in the final game, completely unraveling the Pistons. With 8 seconds left, Isiah led his team off the court early, refusing to shake hands, say goodbye, or apologize, leaving Jordan with an enduring cold shoulder. Jordan stated afterward, "They walked off when they lost. They lost, and they had no respect." This moment became one of the most famous refusal to shake hands incidents in NBA history, completely closing off any possibility of reconciliation between the two. On a side note, the TV ratings for that game peaked at 15.6, the highest for the Eastern Conference Finals that season. At the 1992 Barcelona Olympics, the Dream Team captivated the world, featuring Jordan, Magic, Bird, and Malone. But the one superstar point guard conspicuously absent was 2-time champion Isiah Thomas. While the official line was "tactical decision," Jordan admitted years later, "If he's there, I'm not playing." Jordan didn't want to be teammates with someone who never showed respect, while Isiah still maintains, "We played hard, but we weren't bad guys." This Cold War, without a single shot fired, lasted from 1988 until the release of the Last Dance documentary in 2020. Jordan, on camera, still gritted his teeth and said, "I don't care what he says, his actions speak for themselves." This 30-year feud set the standard for the next rival superstar's arrival in the league. The next conflict story will revolve around two Lakers legends. Kobe versus Shaq. From 2000 to 2002, the Lakers won 3 consecutive championships, with a combined playoff record of 45 wins and 13 losses, including an incredible 15-1 run in the 2001 playoffs. Yet, within this dynasty, there was always an underlying tension. Shaquille O'Neal, a dominant 7 feet 1 inch, 325-pound center, averaged over 28 points in 3 consecutive finals. Meanwhile, a young Kobe Bryant, just 22, dropped 45 points and 10 rebounds against the Spurs in the 2001 Western Conference Finals, gradually asserting himself as the successor. The problem was, neither wanted to be the second fiddle. O'Neal criticized Kobe for being too selfish, while Kobe retorted that O'Neal didn't train or play defense. Due to clashes over offensive touches and control, the Lakers began to fracture, and head coach Phil Jackson soon found himself caught between two titans. In 2004, the Lakers brought in Malone and Payton to form a Big Four, but they were crushed 4-1 by the Pistons in the finals, ending their collaboration. O'Neal was traded to the Heat after the season, leaving behind his famous taunt, "Kobe told on me to get me out of here." Kobe then endured 3 years without a championship, but he consistently vowed, "I'll win a championship without Shaq." In 2009, the Lakers climbed back to the top, and Kobe finally delivered on his promise. After becoming FMVP, during a live TV interview, O'Neal famously yelled, "Kobe, tell me how my ass tastes," igniting the crowd. This taunt, delivered in a lyrical way, was actually a mix of playful mockery and respect, showing how their relationship had gradually shifted from fierce rivalry to mutual admiration. In 2011, Kobe and the retired O'Neal reunited on TNT, joking on air, "We should have had 5 championships." They playfully jabbed at each other, shook hands, and embraced, admitting that their past conflicts had indeed pushed them both to be better. Kobe said in an interview, "Without him pushing me, I wouldn't have been so relentless," O'Neal responded. "He's the hardest working player I ever played with." From playing together in 2000 to their bitter split in 2004, and then their public reconciliation in 2011, this rivalry spanned 11 years, creating one of the most complex and authentic teammate feuds in NBA history. At the heart of this conflict was the eternal question of who's the team leader, a question that would erupt in a different form in the next matchup. KG versus Duncan. From 1999 to 2010, Tim Duncan and Kevin Garnett faced each other over 60 times in the regular season and playoffs, constantly battling under immense defensive pressure. Duncan, 6 feet 11 inches, averaging 19 points and 10.8 rebounds, was the Spurs' steady, clockwork-like offensive and defensive anchor. KG, also 6 feet 11 inches with a wingspan over 7 feet 3 inches, delivered versatile stats of 24.2 points, 13.9 rebounds, and 5 assists in his prime. Their styles were complete opposites. Duncan was silent, methodically dissecting opponents with fundamental skills, while KG never stopped talking on the court, even during warm-ups. One year, KG even shouted the now legendary, oft-repeated line at Duncan, "Does your wife know you got pounded by me tonight?" While the authenticity of the quote is debated, it perfectly encapsulates their contrasting personalities. But trash talk never bothered Duncan's rhythm. His response was always a blank stare, followed by a bank shot right over his opponent's head. He held a career regular season record of 42 wins and 20 losses against the Wolves and dominated them 4-1 in the playoffs, consistently suppressing KG's teams. Duncan won 5 championships from 1999 to 2014, 4 of them as the team's core player, while Garnett didn't achieve his championship dream with the Celtics until 2008, nearly a decade later. KG's passionate leadership style could spark short-term bursts from teammates, but Duncan's quiet execution allowed the Spurs to maintain a consistent system for over a decade. Because winning is the ultimate measure, this rivalry was always defined by Duncan's silent victories. Despite the disparity in stats and accolades, KG earned Duncan's immense respect years later, and both were inducted into the Hall of Fame together in 2020. KG said, "I played him for 15 years, never heard him say a word of trash talk, but I knew every shot he took was his response to me." Duncan simply replied, "He was the opponent who tired me out the most." Their rivalry had no punches, no scandals, just over a decade of high-level, grinding competition. And behind the calmness of this rivalry, the league's excitement was gradually building, leading to the most controversial moment, yet Zaza's foot. Zaza 2017. In Game 1 of the 2017 Western Conference Finals, the Spurs, playing away, were leading the 67-win Golden State Warriors 78-55 in the third quarter. Kawhi Leonard had already tallied 26 points and 8 rebounds, maintaining over 60% shooting accuracy despite the Warriors' constant switches and double teams. It was on a jump shot from the left corner that Warriors center Zaza Pachulia failed to retract his foot in time, causing Leonard to land on his outstretched right foot and severely twist his ankle. Leonard was immediately out of the game and ruled out for the entire series. The Spurs lost their offensive and defensive anchor, and the remaining games turned into a one-sided rout. The Warriors won 4 straight, sweeping the Spurs to advance to the finals, and this foot-out incident ignited months of outrage across the league. Popovich, uncharacteristically, erupted in the post-game press conference, condemning Zaza's move as not basketball, it's murder, and stating flatly, he knew what he was doing. This wasn't the first time Zaza had been accused of dirty play. In 2015, he had also knocked over Westbrook and bumped Love, with intense physical play being his trademark. What infuriated the public even more was that the league didn't suspend him after the game, only ruling no further action, drawing widespread criticism from fans and media. On social media, in particular, #BanZaza became a top trending topic on Twitter, with many NBA players publicly supporting Leonard. All this controversy ultimately forced the league to revise the landing space rule a few months later, which we now know as the Zaza rule, requiring defenders to give offensive players space to land. This rule, implemented in 2018, directly impacted defenders' positioning strategies during shot contests and forced teams to re-evaluate the value of big men in switch defenses. Meanwhile, Leonard's injury led to a fallout with Spurs management, resulting in his trade to the Raptors in the summer of 2018, which then led to his championship-winning season in 2019. Zaza's foot altered the Spurs' last championship push and, in some ways, contributed to Toronto's miraculous journey. Another fiery rivalry was also reaching its peak around the same time a pair of former Thunder brothers were about to go their separate ways. Russ versus KD. On July 4, 2016, Kevin Durant announced he was joining the Golden State Warriors, completely shaking up the league. The previous season, he had just led the Thunder to a 3-1 lead against the Warriors in the Western Conference Finals, only to lose the series. Weeks later, he joined his former opponents. This decision not only shocked the entire league, but also deeply hurt Russell Westbrook. These two had been the core of the Thunder since 2008, playing side by side, reaching the finals together, and winning 60 regular season games, only to part ways before achieving a championship. With Durant's departure, Westbrook went from partner to abandoned, and his reaction quickly turned into fuel. In the 2016-17 season, Westbrook put up incredible numbers, averaging 31.6 points, 10.7 rebounds, and 10.4 assists, becoming the first player in history to average a triple-double for an entire season. That year, he recorded 42 triple-doubles, breaking Oscar Robertson's 55-year-old record. Every game he played felt like a shout-out to someone. Every rebound and assist seemed to scream, "I don't need you." In their first matchup of the season, Westbrook and Durant had zero interaction, with constant on-court clashes. Durant scored 39 points. Westbrook had 27, but the Thunder lost 96-122. The media quickly amplified the conflict. Even Nike got involved, with an ad alluding to KD's betrayal, while Westbrook posted "Cupcake" on social media, implying Durant was soft. On a related note, "Cupcake" later even appeared on T-shirts worn by Thunder fans at home games. As time went on, the two drifted further apart. At the 2017 All-Star Game, they briefly collaborated on an alley-oop, but there was no interaction, as if they were forced to share the same frame. It wasn't until the 2021 Tokyo Olympics that they became teammates again for Team USA, finally reuniting to win gold. But their smiles, whether on the podium or in team photos, seemed strained. By then, KD had won 2 FMVPs. While Westbrook was still bouncing around the league, their paths had long diverged. Because of a super team decision, a relationship once dubbed Thunder Brothers was completely severed, setting the stage for another controversial battle in the future. After 2021, Westbrook began frequently changing teams, and Durant again found himself in turmoil due to another team change, moving on to the next, even more controversial dispute. And the next rivalry will center around the league's top scoring machine, LeBron versus Celtics. In the 2008 Eastern Conference semifinals, LeBron, leading a Cavaliers team that was ranked first in defense but fifth to last in offense, battled the peak Celtics for 7 games, ultimately losing 88-97. 2 years later, in 2010, he averaged 26.8 points, 9.3 rebounds, and 7.2 assists, yet was still crushed by the Big Three of Garnett, Pierce, and Ray Allen in the Eastern Conference Finals. In Game 5 of that 6-game series, he scored only 15 points and was booed mercilessly by the home crowd, who chanted, "Trade him." Unable to overcome the Celtics, he chose to leave his hometown, joining the Heat to team up with Wade and Bosh. This decision ignited outrage across America, turning him from a prodigy into a national traitor with the decision. It was precisely that painful defeat in 2010 that led to the Game of Redemption in Game 6 of 2012. The Heat were down 2-3 in the series, and the TD Garden in Boston was practically celebrating their advancement. But LeBron delivered a god-tier performance of 45 points, 15 rebounds, and 5 assists, shooting 19 of 30 from the field with no visible emotion, executing every offensive play like a machine. The Heat ultimately won 2 straight games to eliminate the Celtics and advance to the finals, where he won his first career championship that year. This was a turning point in his career from a disliked traitor to a true winner. But this rivalry didn't end instead. It opened up a second phase of conflict. In the 2018 Eastern Conference Finals, LeBron, leading a Cavaliers team that had traded away most of its key players and was on the verge of collapse, once again faced the young Celtics. This time, the Celtics ace was Jason Tatum, a rookie averaging 18.5 points, who dunked over LeBron in Game 7, electrifying the arena. But the 36-year-old LeBron responded even more directly, playing all 48 minutes, scoring 35 points, 15 rebounds, and 9 assists, almost single-handedly carrying his team to the finals. He famously said on the spot, "I'm used to people wanting me to fail." That game also completely changed Tatum's mindset. If he wanted to become the face of the league, he had to overcome this man. Over the past 16 years, LeBron has faced the Celtics 45 times, winning 25 of those games, and ending the Celtics season at several critical junctures. He shattered their Big Three dynasty and outlasted Isaiah Thomas, Hayward, and Irving, eventually passing the torch to Tatum to continue the rivalry. The Celtics constantly adjusted their lineup, trying to replicate their 2010 strategy of suppressing LeBron, but he consistently found ways to break through. This continuous battle also pushed LeBron to constantly evolve his game, from a primary isolator to an all-around playmaker, from driving to the rim to shooting from beyond the arc. The rivalry between LeBron and the Celtics perfectly captures his journey from prodigious talent to dynasty builder. And his next opponent wasn't a team, but the league's top scoring machine, Steph Curry. CP3 versus Curry. In Game 7 of the 2014 first-round playoff series, the Clippers defeated the Warriors 4-3. Chris Paul averaged 19.6 points and 9 assists, completely dominating Steph Curry, who was just beginning to emerge as a star that year. At the time, CP3 had just won the league's assist title, with his pace control and pick-and-roll passing being textbook examples. Curry, meanwhile, was still adapting to the physicality and switching defenses of the playoffs. That series was incredibly tight, with Paul's 2 crucial pick-and-rolls for 5 quick points in Game 7 effectively sealing the win. The Clippers' tough defense forced the Warriors into an average of 15 turnovers per game, and CP3 was far more composed than Curry on both ends of the court. Back then, no one would have imagined that this would be the last time Paul's team would defeat a Curry-led team in the playoffs. However, just a year later, the tide completely turned. Starting in 2015, Curry led the Warriors to dominate the league, with a 67-win regular season and a 12-3 playoff record en route to a championship. Meanwhile, the Clippers were eliminated after blowing a 3-1 lead to the Rockets, with Chris Paul once again falling short in the Western Conference semifinals. Curry had an MVP season, averaging 23.8 points and 7.7 assists, with incredibly high offensive efficiency and a 44.3% three-point shooting percentage that completely changed the league's play style. Paul's pick-and-roll heavy, mid-range system, however, started to be questioned as too slow and lacking explosiveness. It was during this period that Curry famously crossed over CP3 in a regular season game, creating a gif that's still widely circulated today. Comparing their career trajectories, one was taking off, while the other was on the verge of decline. The 2018 Western Conference Finals was their closest peak encounter. The Rockets were up 3-2 when Chris Paul suffered a hamstring injury and missed the final 2 games, ultimately allowing the Warriors to rally and win. Paul had averaged 21.1 points and 5.8 assists through the first 5 games, limiting Curry to just 33% from 3, delivering one of the most dominant series performances of his career. If not for the injury, he might have avenged himself against Curry and potentially changed the course of the league. Instead, Curry seized the opportunity, leading his team to victory with back-to-back 20-plus point games, advancing to the finals once again. This missed opportunity left Paul forever a step short of defeating Curry. In the summer of 2023, the Warriors suddenly announced they had traded for Chris Paul, shocking the entire league. A longtime rival who had clashed with Curry for nearly a decade, with countless on-court skirmishes, was now going to wear a Warriors jersey. Paul became a backup point guard for the team, playing only about 20 minutes per game his first time not being a starter in his career. This role change, from a floor general to a role player, marked the true end of an era. Curry, meanwhile, remained the team's tactical core, still averaging over 25 points, still dictating the game's pace. It was like a real-life changing of the guard. CP3 was once the West's order setter, but now, the rules were written by Curry. From 2014 to 2023, the rivalry between Paul and Curry spanned the entire three-point revolution era, witnessing both their peaks and declines. But this feud ultimately ended with them joining forces, signifying that the era where Chris Paul, the point guard who controlled the game, truly ended. And the next rivalry is already quietly brewing, centered around 2 MVP players, Giannis versus Harden. At the end of the 2019 regular season, Giannis Antetokounmpo averaged 27.7 points, 12.5 rebounds, and 5.9 assists, leading the Bucks to the league's best record of 60-22, ultimately beating James Harden, who averaged 36.1 points for the MVP award. This result sparked controversy because Harden not only had explosive scoring, but also averaged 7.5 assists, and the Rockets' record was also among the best in the Western Conference. Harden publicly stated at the time, MVP shouldn't just be about physicality, but about skill. This statement was a clear jab at Giannis's perceived lack of diverse offensive moves, hinting his game was too reliant on athleticism. Media and fans immediately sensed the tension, elevating this skill versus physicality debate to a fever pitch. The stylistic differences between the two also gave this argument a partisan flavor. Giannis didn't directly retort, but in an interview, he said, "I don't want to hold the ball for 20 seconds every possession. I just want to win." While calm, his response was pointed, directly implying Harden's ball-dominant style sacrifice team rhythm. Meanwhile, the on-court matchups between the Bucks and Rockets also heated up, with frequent direct confrontations and increased physical contact between the two stars. In their 2019 Christmas Day game, Giannis led his team to a victory over the Rockets and famously dunked over Clint Capella on a fast break. Roaring with emotion, this game became a classic example of how the public interpreted Giannis retaliating against Harden. The two never had a direct physical altercation, but the atmosphere remained tense, with their on-court performance becoming their most direct voice. In the 2020 bubble season, the two teams met again, with the Rockets narrowly winning 120-116 as Harden scored 24 points and secured the victory. But after 2021, Harden was traded to the Nets, and his performance fluctuated due to injuries and team changes. Giannis, meanwhile, put up god-tier numbers in the 2021 NBA Finals, averaging 35.2 points and 13.2 rebounds, leading the Bucks to a championship and solidifying his legendary status. The MVP controversy gradually faded, replaced by a stark reality of differing statuses. One was a championship core player, while the other was still bouncing between teams and systems. By 2023, Harden had fallen from MVP contention, even facing constant questions about his effort, while Giannis continued to consistently deliver with an unstoppable efficiency of 31.1 points and 11.8 rebounds per game. This controversy, sparked by the MVP award, ultimately evolved into a clash of two basketball philosophies, one driven by skill, the other by physical dominance. But reality has provided the answer, because Giannis not only won the MVP but also capped off the debate with a championship and FMVP. However, similar debates won't end, because every era will have a style versus results argument, and the next rivalry is already quietly brewing. This time, the focus will be on a key player for the Warriors: Draymond versus Sabonis. In Game 5 of the 2023 Western Conference semifinals, the Warriors and Kings were locked in a heated battle. In the final minute of the game, Draymond Green stepped on Domantas Sabonis' chest during a rebound attempt, leading to Green's immediate ejection. The game ultimately ended with the Kings losing narrowly 108-114, but the Warriors capitalized on Green's absence to stage a strong comeback. Green's sudden ejection, as a core defensive and organizational player, shifted the tactical dynamic of the series and set the stage for a subsequent suspension. This incident sparked widespread debate among fans and media, with many questioning whether Green had intentionally fouled Sabonis. Green was subsequently suspended for Game 5, and this crucial game became a turning point for the Warriors' advancement. The Warriors used this momentum to defeat the Kings 120-113 in Game 7, securing their spot in the next round. After the game, Green publicly defended himself, stating, "He grabbed my foot. I just overreacted." However, this explanation didn't calm the controversy, instead further enraging Kings fans, leading to a social media war between the two fan bases. Meanwhile, the league, when assessing disciplinary action, heavily weighed Green's history of repeat offenses, which was a major factor in his suspension. Green had previously received multiple technical fouls for emotional outbursts, and the league sought to establish new conduct standards through strict punishment. This controversy wasn't just a clash between two players, it became a watershed moment for the league's enforcement of rules and discipline in the modern era. The league is currently focused on strengthening rule enforcement and protecting player safety, and the Green incident perfectly exemplified this. At the same time, this matchup also revealed the escalating competitive tension between the Warriors and Kings, where their clashes transcended technical aspects and elevated into a test of psychological and physical limits. In the next round, the Warriors would face an even tougher challenger, and Green's emotional control and tactical execution became crucial for the team's ability to advance further. Next, we'll see how an internal training camp conflict foreshadowed a team's future. Jimmy versus Cat. During the 2018 Timberwolves training camp, Jimmy Butler brazenly led the second unit in dominating the starting five. He efficiently scored 25 points while verbally trashing Karl Anthony Towns and Andrew Wiggins. Butler bluntly stated, "You guys are soft as tissue," a phrase that quickly became infamous within the team and exposed the deep cracks in their locker room. At the time, the team's record was a disappointing 29-53, and the conflict between management and players began to go public. Butler's killer mentality not only fueled his own drive, but also became the catalyst for his eventual trade. After leaving the Timberwolves, Butler joined the Miami Heat, leading his new team against his old one multiple times, including a first-round playoff series in 2020 and several regular season games in 2022. Almost every matchup left the Timberwolves humiliated, Despite Karl Anthony Towns' insistence that we're strong too, the Timberwolves' performance since 2018 has been inconsistent, with a playoff win rate of just 37%, far behind the Heat's steady success. Butler's tough style and leadership were key reasons he consistently led the Heat to victory in these revenge games. Moreover, this clash of cultures and personalities fueled Butler's competitive fire, making him even more ruthless on the court. This conflict within a team highlighted not only two vastly different playing styles, but also significant differences in internal team management. Butler's departure left the Timberwolves without a strong leader, and the performances of Towns and Wiggins failed to fill that void. As the Heat and Timberwolves continued to face off, their rivalry deepened, becoming a rare example of a culture clash in the league. This experience shaped Butler's current fierce and decisive playing style, making him one of the most respected killers in the league. Next, one of the most iconic NBA Finals rivalries in history is about to unfold. Cavs versus Warriors. From 2015 to 2018, the Cavaliers and Warriors met in the NBA Finals for 4 consecutive years, creating one of the most iconic rivalries in league history. In 2015, the Warriors won 4-2, ending Cleveland's 52-year championship drought. LeBron James valiantly led his team, but couldn't stop the Warriors' rise. Then, in 2016, the Cavaliers made an astonishing 3-1 comeback in the finals. James averaged 29.7 points, 11.3 rebounds, and 8.9 assists, with the most classic moment being his game-saving block on Andre Iguodala's fast break, a truly breathtaking defensive play. This comeback not only brought Cleveland its first ever major sports championship, but also stunned the entire league, proving James's unparalleled dominance and leadership. In 2017, with Kevin Durant joining the team, the Warriors became virtually unstoppable. Durant averaged 35.2 points and was named Finals MVP as the team easily defeated the Cavaliers 4-1. Although James scored a game-high 51 points in Game 1, he couldn't overcome the Warriors' offensive explosion. In the 2018 Finals, James continued his strong performance, but the Warriors still swept them 4-0, completing their dynasty's three-peat. The Warriors won 3 championships in these 4 years, compared to the Cavaliers' single win in 2016, a stark contrast in their records. Durant's addition not only bolstered the Warriors' offense, but also ushered the league into the era of super teams. This dynasty rivalry between the Cavaliers and Warriors completely reshaped the NBA landscape, forcing the league to redefine team building and competitive strategies. James and the Warriors' superstars, through their talent and rivalry, propelled the league's commercialization and global influence, also sparking a trend of teams assembling superstar trios to contend for championships. The 4 years of intertwined rivalry were not just on-court battles, but a clash of new-era basketball philosophies. Who will replicate this glorious dynastic clash in the future NBA remains the biggest mystery. Next, we'll explore a long-standing rivalry between a team and the referees. Knicks versus refs. In 1997, Knicks head coach Jeff Van Gundy was fined $10,000 by the league for publicly criticizing referee calls, an early sign of the Knicks' friction with officials. Then, in the 1999 playoffs, a crucial mistaken call by referees nearly sparked a fight between Knicks and Heat players. The game was tight, and the Knicks ultimately lost in a heartbreaking defeat. Throughout the 2000s, numerous Knicks games were marred by questionable officiating, with controversial whistles frequently appearing, escalating the tension between the team and the refs. Fans would joke, "We don't play the opponent, we play the whistle," a widely circulated quip among Knicks supporters that reflected their long-standing frustration and helplessness. In 2023, in a crucial game against a strong opponent, the Knicks once again ignited online outrage due to a missed foul call, with Knicks fans on social media fuming, accusing the league of protecting weaker teams and favoring stronger ones. Meanwhile, Knicks management repeatedly publicly urged the league to improve referee quality, but with little effect. This long-standing distrust has made the blood feud between the Knicks and the referees almost a regular topic for fans and media, impacting team morale and public perception. Every time a whistle blows, the Knicks seem to spark new controversy, like an endless tug of war. This ongoing dispute not only highlights the immense impact of referee decisions on game outcomes, but also reveals the immense pressure the Knicks face being in New York, a city constantly under media scrutiny. The direction of refereeing is intrinsically linked to the team's fate, and the Knicks have repeatedly clashed with officials over mistaken calls, forming a unique culture of defiance. As the league continues to experiment with technological aids for officiating and replay systems, whether the Knicks can escape this historical entanglement remains to be seen. The rivalry behind the referee's whistle has become an inseparable part of this legendary franchise. Next, the showdown between two Superman centers will take center stage. Shaq versus Dwight. Shaquille O'Neal famously declared Dwight Howard wasn't a Superman, but rather a softie, a statement that caused a huge stir in the league. Both wore number 12 and played center, and when Howard joined the Lakers, he was expected to continue O'Neal's dominant legacy, but it didn't quite work out that way. During their 2012-2013 season together, they generated almost no chemistry, with the team's record only 45-37 and an early playoff exit, exposing the awkward reality of two dominant centers unable to coexist. Howard responded to Shaq by emphasizing, "I am me, not your mini-me," showcasing his determination to break free from O'Neal's shadow and forge his own dynasty. This rivalry extended from the court to social media, where the two frequently engaged in verbal jabs, much to the delight of fans who followed their trash talk battles. All of this made the clash between these two centers not just a technical competition, but also a battle of personalities and status. The debate over who the true Superman is continues to this day, making it one of the most talked about center rivalries in league history. This softie versus Superman battle reflects the evolving role and challenges of the center position in modern basketball. While both players demonstrated extreme dominance in their respective primes, their differing styles and personalities made coexisting on the same team an impossible task. At the same time, this rivalry also intensified competition at the center position, shaping the context for a subsequent generation of centers vying for the Superman title. Next, a cross-generational mentor-mentee and rival relationship is about to unfold. MJ versus Kobe. In the 1998 NBA All-Star Game, Michael Jordan's all-around performance of 31 points and 12 assists overshadowed the then 19-year-old Kobe Bryant, establishing the dominance of the elder generation over the rising star. Kobe scored only 13 points in that game, but his tenacity and aggressiveness hinted at the future emergence of a superstar. In 2003, their final on-court encounter saw Kobe explode for 55 points, delivering a spectacular farewell performance to honor Jordan and announcing the arrival of a new era. Kobe publicly referred to Jordan as his big brother multiple times, and the two maintained frequent private communication, with Kobe diligently studying Jordan's techniques and competitive spirit. Research data shows that Kobe's shooting form and footwork were over 90% similar to Jordan's. Yet their mentalities differed significantly. Jordan possessed more of a killer instinct and fearlessness, while Kobe integrated more team awareness and refined skills. From mentorship to competition, and then to being constantly compared in terms of their legacies and influence, they became one of the most classic mentor-mentee and rival relationships in basketball history. This cross-generational clash wasn't just a technical duel, it also reflected the NBA's massive transition from the Jordan era to the post-Jordan era. Kobe inherited Jordan's basketball philosophy while forging his own legend. The question of who was the true successor of the post-Jordan era sparked countless debates and discussions, becoming an eternal topic in NBA history. Next, we'll look at a long-standing playoff rivalry between two Western Conference teams. Houston versus Jazz. Between 1994 and 1998, the Rockets and Jazz clashed multiple times in the playoffs, forming one of the most intense rivalries in the Western Conference. The Jazz, led by John Stockton and Karl Malone, faced the Rockets' dual threat of Hakeem Olajuwon and Clyde Drexler. The teams often battled to 7 games, with the intensity of play and tactical combat reaching their peak. Notably, in the 1997 Western Conference Finals, the Jazz defeated the Rockets 4-2, using their consistent defense and clutch play to keep Houston out of the finals. Entering the new millennium, the Rockets still couldn't escape the Jazz's shadow in 2007 and 2008, being blocked by their opponent for 2 consecutive seasons from advancing further. Even during the James Harden era, the Jazz's defensive system remained a major nemesis for the Rockets. Harden's scoring average against the Jazz dropped by over 5 points, limiting Houston's offensive efficiency. The rivalry between the Rockets and Jazz wasn't just about on-court competition, it was a deep-seated animosity, inherited from the Jordan era, that permeated both team cultures and fan psyches. This cross-generational rivalry highlights the resilience and evolving strategies of two teams clashing at different historical junctures. The Jazz consistently used team defense and veteran execution to suppress the Rockets' star-driven offense, while the Rockets continuously adjusted their roster in an attempt to break through that defensive wall. The intense animosity between the Rockets and Jazz became a classic chapter in NBA history and set an example for future rivalries. Next, we will delve into a controversial situation where a star player's arrival quickly led to a team's implosion. Nets versus Kyrie. In 2019, Kyrie Irving joined the Nets, immediately raising high expectations. In 2021, he, Kevin Durant, and James Harden formed a historic Big Three, making the team a championship favorite. However, subsequent controversies over vaccines and frequent absences drastically reduced his availability, severely impacting team chemistry. At the same time, Irving's off-court comments caused multiple public relations nightmares, intensifying internal and external conflicts, and gradually eroding the patience of both management and fans. In Game 1 of the 2022 playoffs, Irving's refusal to play caused an uproar, and the team fell to a 0-1 deficit, suffering a major setback. Fans and media uniformly criticized his professionalism. This incident became a turning point for the Nets' decline, ultimately leading to his trade to the Mavericks in 2023 and the start of the team's rebuilding process. Fans angrily accused Irving of ruining what should have been a great opportunity and criticized management's moves for leading to a mess. The story of the Nets and Kyrie Irving is a fierce clash between idealism and practical reality, serving as a warning for future team management. This turmoil reflects the complex balance between modern NBA star personalities and team management. Irving's talent is undeniable, but his actions also expose contradictions within the league and team culture. On the Nets' rebuilding path, how to balance player freedom with team stability will be crucial for the future. In the next chapter, we'll see how a coach and a star player went from collaboration to open conflict. Dwight versus Stan Van. In 2012, Magic head coach Stan Van Gundy revealed that Dwight Howard was trying to get him fired behind the scenes, a bombshell that shocked the league. Then, in front of media cameras, Howard famously patted Van Gundy on the shoulder, laughing and saying, "It's nothing," creating an incredibly awkward and memorable scene in the league. A few months later, Van Gundy was officially dismissed, and the Magic's core roster gradually disintegrated, sending the team into a rebuilding phase as Howard's relationship with the franchise completely broke down. To this day, the two maintain a Cold War where they don't mention each other by name. This internal office feud wasn't just a conflict between a coach and a player, it exposed the brutal reality of power struggles within a team. Howard, the 6 feet 11 inches center who averaged 13.5 rebounds, and his conflict with Van Gundy became one of the most public coach-superstar confrontations in NBA history. Their mutually destructive moment reflected the complex dynamics of power clashing with personality, and it cost the Magic dearly. This rivalry not only impacted the team's overall performance, but also became a case study for the league to reflect on the delicate balance of power between players and coaches. Howard's Superman persona and Van Gundy's iron-fisted management stood in stark contrast, foreshadowing potential future internal conflicts. The Magic's disbandment was a direct result of their escalating conflict, and it all serves as a reminder to the league that the subtle balance of management and star relationships can never be overlooked. In the next chapter, we'll explore a physical altercation between two point guards. Paul versus Rondo. In a 2018 game between the Rockets and the Lakers, Chris Paul suddenly poked Rajon Rondo in the eye, immediately sparking a fierce brawl. Rondo retaliated with a punch, and the scene quickly devolved into chaos, resulting in 3 players being suspended and nearly $500,000 in total fines. Such an outburst was no accident. The animosity between the two had been brewing since their time together at the 2008 Beijing Olympics training camp, with their mutual dislike evident early on. Rondo openly called Paul a fake leader, while Paul retorted that Rondo was a punk. These two-point guards, both under 6 feet tall, were like powder kegs on and off the court, ready to explode at any moment. Their differing personalities and playing styles fueled this rivalry for years, making it one of the most dramatic matchups between small point guards. It was this intense relationship that brought so much fire to their confrontations and gave fans a new appreciation for the rivalry at the point guard position. How this fiery point guard battle would impact both of their careers is worth a deeper analysis. Looking back at all these fiery rivalries across different eras, it's pretty clear that each one reflects a unique slice of NBA history. From Bird and Magic's epic showdowns kicking off a golden age, to Jordan's gritty battles against the Pistons defining the beautiful brutality of basketball, from Kobe and Shaq's internal struggles revealing the human side of a dynasty, to LeBron and the Warriors' peak clashes that totally reshaped the league. These aren't just about winning or losing. They're about player growth, clashing styles, and the evolution of the game's rules. These feuds are the real-life scripts of the basketball court. They pushed players to their limits, forced teams to adapt, and gave fans countless legendary moments to obsess over. Every conflict, every matchup, is like a historical marker, showing how the NBA moved from one era to the next. It's precisely these never-ending rivalries that keep basketball so captivating, drawing in generation after generation of fans. So, who do you think will be the next great rivalry in the NBA, igniting that same incredible spark and writing their own legendary chapter? Want more? Subscribe, and I'll bring you plenty more you never knew.